Hastie almost got caught underneath that exchange there. Had to hold Rick up. Okay, so our three race riders now in the white shirt. Ottawa Turpin. Brian Ellis looking behind him and feels the breath of Scott Hastie down his neck. Scott Hastie, and trailing in the long hair, red shirt, Midtown Toronto, Rick the Torpedo Froner, a real familiar face around here. The speed is picking up here. Scott Hastie goes over the top. Saturn Canada, Scott's putting the boots down. Now Scott's on the low side of the track. Moving quick. That's Scott Hastie, Saturn Canada, Bill McGee, pulling out a commanding lead here. Booting around the bottom of the track all by himself, just a hustling away. Scott Hastie right into the rhythm. He's coming up on his partner, Tim Hadfield, Saturn Canada, and pushes Tim in. Tim spent a whole season down here about 2 or 3 years ago. Raced every Velodrome race and is very familiar with it. That bell is rung, so that's it. Saturn Canada team winning that. Okay. Saturn Canada taking a commanding lead. Toronto Midtown. Was that Toronto Midtown in second? Brian feels the same way I do. The race is over already? I was just getting warmed up. Brian Ellis from the Ottawa Turpin. Brian, you're a seasoned veteran of this stuff. You grew up with this sport. Could you say a few words?
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to be able to race here at Peter Junick's track. I don't think any of us have ever seen a track like this in our career. It's a smallest track that you're going to see as far as biking is concerned. And I think we've got 58-degree bankings on this track, which makes it quite unique. The tracks I was used to back in England were 500 meters in length, and this is only 120 meters. So it's quite a ride. It's a roller coaster ride, especially on the bankings, like the Wall of Death. And the G-forces are quite something. You should try it out. Come down to one of the clinics. Anyway, Mike, thanks very much, and thanks everyone for coming out today.
Brian, I'm not through with you. I'd like you to stay here. As I was trying to figure out what to make up for this TV show, one of the things I wanted to cover was we call this the Saturn Cup. It's the Saturn Cup we're watching. We call it a different kind of bike race. Brian explained why it's a different kind of bike race, telling us about the track. This is a very unusual track. I've got Gord Singleton's track bike here. Maybe you could show the folks why this is a different kind of bike. It's got no brakes on it.
Yeah, well, a bike like this usually weighs about 16, 17 pounds. It doesn't have brakes. It doesn't have any gears. It has a fixed one gear. You can't freewheel. Once you're pedaling, that's it. It's got very light tires, very high pressure. You pump them up to about 120, 140 psi. And generally, you strip these bikes down, so there's just basically a frame, handlebar, seat, wheels, and pedals. That's it.
Thanks very much. That's Brian Ellis explaining some of the intricacies of this different kind of bike race. A very short track, bikes with no brakes, and pushing by the hip, slinging your partners. There's Mr. Andreola on this extreme terrain bike doing a lap for us. Mr. Andreola had to get the feel of that thing. I rode that bike earlier, too. It's like riding a truck. This program of Velodrome racing from Fonthill Park is brought to you by your local Saturn retailer, proud sponsors of the Saturn Canada team, Canadian champions. Okay, I'd like to introduce this race. This is the second half of the Madison teams now up on the rail. In the blue Motor City shirt is Gord Singleton, former world champion. He set 3 world records in 1982. Listen carefully if you want to win that tie-dye t-shirt. Gord Singleton set 3 world championships and is the world champion in the Kieran event in 1982. And we'll be giving away that shirt to one of you lucky television viewers who sends us a letter to Post Office Box 340, Fonthill, Ontario. That's Fonthill Lumber or Fonthill Velodrome. LOS1EO. Box 340, Fonthill, Ontario, LOS 1EO. So send in your cards, send in your letters, tell us what year Gord Singleton was the world champion, and we'll be happy to send you this beautiful tie-dye shirt. Peter McCaffrey blows the whistle, the riders are off. And we have half the team in the race lane down at the bottom of the track, and the other halves are rest teams. So that's Brian Cookta on the front, Brampton, the half of the race team. Alex Scott in the gray Pickering shirt behind him, green Burlington Leggett, Tim Lefebvre, and blue, Motor City Saturn, Gord Singleton. The riders are coming up for their exchanges. At the back is the first exchange, the green Burlington team exchanges. They're all exchanging now. That was much smoother than the first heat. The riders all spread themselves out. They seem to be in the right place, and they all exchanged without getting tangled up. The speed is picked up here. The rest teams have now taken over the race, and the speed is picked up. That's still Brampton in front with Greg Borden. That's Pickering right behind him, Tom Froze. The green Burlington rider, Dan Lefebvre, is reaching up now to hand in his partner, Tim Lefebvre, his brother. And Gord Singleton way up high. Alex is going high. He's going above the exchanges. There's 4 riders abreast up there. A traffic jam in the corner, but they all squeak through. Greg Borden, Brampton, still pulling it out from the front. Greg Borden, silver medalist in the Hess Village Criterium Canadian National Championships. The riders, there's a hand sling by the team in the blue, Motor City. Gord Singleton gets thrown in with a hand sling, and they pull off the front again. That's Brian Cookta. Gord Singleton takes the lead. He blows past Brampton. Brian Cookta. Gord Singleton putting the boots down. The bell is rung. We're getting near the end of this race. And Gord Singleton slams the door closed.
Approximately halfway through the race, the bell will be rung, and the riders who are actually on the track at the time contesting the race will sprint for a 10-lap prize. Then the other set of riders come on, and those riders will rest for a second sprint for 10 laps. Then after that, the riders maintain their positions, and there'll be approximately 20-25 laps to the finish.
Okay, we're into this feature Madison, the feature event, and I have with me Dan Lefebvre, who's been eliminated in earlier rounds. He'll help me do some color commentating here.
Okay, we got first change coming up. There goes Rico. Oh, it's a bit of a lot of bikes on that track today. We have 5 teams. Usually there's only 4 teams, but today we have 5.
I'll take over. Listen to the way I called the color and the city. Okay, that's Tim Hadfield on the front, Saturn Canada. Bill McGee in the blue. Behind him is Gord Singleton, Oshawa Whitby, Motor City. In red is Rico sitting in there, Midtown, Toronto. And Brian Cookta in the blue Brampton shirt. And trailing is Tom Froze in the green Burlington Leggett. We'll try to call out the colors so you can pick it out easier on your TV what's going on. This race has got notorious for being confusing, with riders zigzagging in and out all over the place, Dan.
That's right, Mike. It takes a trained eye to keep track of this race. But you'll see once these riders really start going, it'll break up a little bit and be a little easier to follow. There we have the Saturn team giving a change, and we have Scott Hastie's on the front, followed by Ezio Andreola of Oshawa Whitby, shortly followed by Rick Froner of Toronto Midtown Saturn.
Okay.
It's starting to heat up, Mike. It's really getting excited. Here comes Burlington. Tom Froze. He's still leading. He's showing his stuff here with Scott Hastie's of Saturn Canada. Oh, here comes Scott. Oh. There he goes. Scott's leading the way now. He's showing his stuff. Canadian champion Scott Hastie's from Bill McGee Saturn. The field is really split apart now, Mike. Look at the debris out there. My God, what is happening to this group?
Yeah, a number of them out the back door once the boots went down. Where are we up to? I've lost track here, Dan. I think we got Saturn Canada on the front, Tim Hadfield, and the blue Oshawa Whitby right in behind. That must be 1 and 2.
Mike, what we have here is Saturn Canada blowing this field away with Ezio Andreola right on his tail. Oshawa Whitby, Saturn, right on his tail. Number 1 and 2, the class of the field. They're about to lap the Midtown Toronto team of Rick Froner and Rico. Here they are, right on the tail of them. I think you're going to see these teams going one lap. Oh my God, there's a mischange there. That's going to change the face of this race. I don't know if they'll be able to recover. Gord Singleton has just taken off. This means trouble for Saturn Canada. There goes Gord, world champion, Gord Singleton. My God, look at him go. Here comes a... Oh no, trouble again.
Oh, did you see that?
That was a very close call here. Oshawa Whitby has just missed their change. That's going to give the Saturn Canada team a chance to get back on.
Saturn Canada team makes a nice exchange, and it looks like everything's settled down again. For a while, it got pretty hairy there, Dan.
Well, I sure did, Mike. Gord Singleton is not caught up on Saturn Canada yet, but I think he's going to get him in the next lap or two. It's a two-team race here, with everyone else is at least one lap down, and I think they're lapping the teams again, so they're going to be 2 laps down pretty soon. Brent's going to start 10 laps to go.
And I hear the bell. There will be a sprint coming up.
Okay, there's going to be 10 laps here for the sprint, so half the teams will get off the track at this point, and the other half will go for the sprint. We have all the riders grouped up here, 4 abreast. It's going to be a hotly contested sprint. Alex Scott leading out the sprint, followed closely by Tim Hatfield, Ezio Andreola, and Greg Borden. Rick Froner is trailing. Rick Froner, I think he has more in his legs than that. Come on, Rick. The crowd needs to support Rick. The torpedo. Alex Scott leading out this sprint, followed closely by Tim Hatfield, Ezio Andreola. There goes Greg Borden over the top. I think Greg has something left in him. We have 2 laps to go. Tim Hatfield puts on the torpedoes. Here he goes. 1 lap to go. Oh, 2 laps to go. Okay, 2 laps to go. Here goes. 1 lap to go at this time. This is hot. Here we go. Tim Hatfield, Greg Borden, all out. Greg's going to have to, come on, Greg, around. Give Greg some support. Let's go. Looks like Tim Hatfield, he takes the cash preem. Congratulations, Tim. Saturn Canada.
Okay, there's 6 laps to go. We've got the rest of the riders in this sprint. At the front in the red Midtown shirt is Rick Fable, Toronto. Saturn Canada, Bill McGee right behind him. In the blue shirt, Gord Singleton, Oshawa Whitby. And then Brampton in the blue, Brampton Saturn, and then Leggett Saturn of Burlington, trailing in the green shirt. It's 3 laps to go, Dan.
All right, here we go. Here goes Scott Hasties. He's gonna do what his teammate did. I think he's gonna take this. But we have Gord Singleton, world champion, right on his wheel. This is gonna be exciting. They'll have 1 lap to go when they come around here. 1 lap to go. Here they go. World champion Gord Singleton. Let's see if he has it in his legs. Let's cheer him on. Let's go. He's coming around. Let's see what happens. Oh my God. I think that was Gord Singleton, world champion, has taken this preem. Gord Singleton. Unbelievable. Oshawa Whitby Saturn, Gord Singleton. Gord has been around a long time, and he's showing he still has that speed in his legs.
He nipped Canadian champion Tim Hadfield by just a whisker, and his lap time was 53.10 kilometers an hour. The fastest lap today, Gord Singleton, world champion from 1982.
Here we go, 24 laps to go. This is, we have in first place, we have the team from Saturn Canada, Tim Hatfield and Scott Hasties. They're 1 lap up on the team of Gord Singleton and Ezio Andreola from Oshawa Whitby. And they again are 3 laps up on the next team, which would be Alex Scott and Tom Froze of Burlington Saturn. Followed on the same lap by Midtown Toronto, Rico and Rick Froner. And in 5th place we have Greg Borden and Cookta, Brian Cookta of Brampton Saturn. Gord Singleton and Scott Hasties. They're watching each other very closely here. We got 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go.
This style of racing is well known in certain centers of Europe with pushing and traffic. Ezio takes off the top. Ezio in the blue shirt, Motor City. Ezio and Brampton makes a swing. Ezio's taking a flyer. He's not going to sit and let this happen to him. He's putting the boots down. There's only 4 laps to go. He's going to give it everything. Tim Hadfield bearing down right behind him. Saturn Canada, the St. Catharines Bill McGee team. We're thankful for having them.